Hi everyone, my name is Grace, and today we're gonna be talking about hypertension. Since hypertension is the condition that exists in Sekonji, Ghana. What we call hypertension is the condition where the force of blood pushing against the wall of arteries or vessels is too high. When you take your blood pressure, usually we have two numbers. The first is high. The highest one is what we call systolic. It is higher because if the pressure the heart had to make to push the blood out to the system. And the second one, we call it diastolic. The diastolic is the lowest one, since is when the heart has to be relaxed, like no a lot of pressure to receive the blood coming in inside of the heart. So hypertension too, we call it the silent killer because without symptom, you can have the risk factor we're gonna be talking about very soon, but you can be having the symptom or the sign and you doesn't know about it until you have the complication. That is why you have to know about the risk factors. When we talk about the risk factor, we can have those. We have two times. One, you can change, like what we call modifiable factor, and the one you cannot change has your age, your race, your family history, and your gender. But the one we can change, the one we can prevent, to have, like the one we can act on it to prevent us to get the hypertension or to manage our hypertension if you already have it, is if you doesn't do the physical, the physical inactivity is the risk factor. The poor diet, high in salt, high in cholesterol, obesity, excessive consumption of alcohol, stress, and smoking, those are modifiable factors. So the additionally to that, how we know somebody have the high blood pressure? We know somebody have a high blood pressure when that person have headache, the vision, they doesn't see well, and the chest pain, and feel dizzy, fatigue. When they start having those symptoms, adding for the risk factor they have, the first step they can have to check, like going to the medical practitioner or a medical center just to check their blood pressure to make sure all that is in the good range. So that is why when we consider about treatment, we consider medication and lifestyle. And what I have to make us understand is when you have already the blood pressure, or that is there is the moment you start having the treatment. And the treatment is not just about the medication, it's about changing your lifestyle. But even though you don't have the disease already, since you already have the risk factors, it's very good to start changing your lifestyle, since hypertension is something, even though you already have the no modifiable factor as age, race, gender already there, and other all the environmental factors gonna predict if you're gonna be having the hypertension early or not. So that is why what we are about to talk about is for both. If you already have the high blood pressure or if you doesn't have the high blood pressure. So those is for the if for both condition, if for both stage for the disease. So to avoid having the blood pressure or to better manage your high blood pressure, we recommend you to engage in physical activity at least 30 minutes a day for 4 days a week. Manage your stress, having class like a yoga, going to church. If you have the community already, you can go to church. Find some activity that help you to relax yourself, and to lower your the stress. Yes. Also, you have to eat healthy. Eating healthy means like you have to eat a lot of vegetables and fruits and reduce the quantity of salt you put in your food. Based on the recommendation of OMS, they recommend that 5 grams of salt per day. So when we are cooking all those stuff, we have to have that in our back head to know how to know how to put the quantity of salt in our food. Oh, also, it's gonna be great also to know how to read those articles you buy, like the fast food. If you had food desert in your locality, you have to read the quantity of salt in every article to know how many or how much you are consuming every day. We have to avoid smoking in and drinking. Every time you have hard time to smoke uh, or hard time to stop smoking or drinking alcohol, I recommend you to see the medical provider to help you in the process to stop smoking and drinking alcohol in excess. Also, we recommend you to sleep each night at least 7 hours to 9 hours, depending on in your the age range you have. But it is recommend 7 hours a day. Also, since you already have the blood pressure or having the symptom or the factor or the risk factor, it's very good to monitor your blood pressure or at least a week, once a week. And if you already have the disease, every day, at least twice a day. When we are talking about food earlier, uh, I was telling you like you have to eat, you have to eat healthy and all those stuff. In your plate, we supposed to be having in your plate, we're supposed to be having 50% of vegetable or fruit, 25% of protein, and 25% of carbohydrate. When we talk about carbohydrate, is pasta, rice, and all those stuff. And protein, egg, meat, fish, and vegetable. We all know about it. Fruit, salad, carrots, cucumber. All of those fruits have to be 50% of our plate. And when we were talking about salt earlier, we said like we have like every day we have to consume 5 grams of salt every day. That is the maximum we can consume. So that is why even the pizza is not if it's something you can be eating every day because the quantity of salt is very high, and also it's higher in cholesterol. Those are fast food. Those are processed food. So when you buy those extra processed food, you have to look at in the surface where they put sodium, the quantity of sodium is much the same with the quantity of sugar in every in extra processed food you take. Eh, Once and while you can have those variety of food, but it's not something you can be taking every day. Eh, Additionally, what are the complications you can have when you have a high blood pressure? You can lose your vision. We start that here. You lost your vision. You had a stroke. You can have a heart attack, the kidney disease. You can have sexual dysfunction and baby death because has a complication on after we have the complication sometimes people doesn't know cannot manage their daily life activity and they lost the ability to sustain themselves and finally is they lose their life that way. So that is why I recommend everybody to check their blood pressure if you have the risk factors already. If we recommend you to check your blood pressure once a week at least. When you check your blood pressure and you have over one a 140 and 90, I recommend you to check your blood pressure every day during 1 week, morning and afternoon during 1 week, and go and see your medical practitioner. That way we can hit what you already, based on what you're reading, your blood pressure reading in 1 week, we can identify if you had high blood pressure or not. If they already know you, if we already know like you have a high blood pressure, we recommend you to take your blood pressure at least once a day, eh, otherwise at least twice a day, every day. Eh. That allows us to know if the medication is working, and if your high blood pressure is more controlling, and also if the lifestyle changing you start developing is changing your blood pressure, so we can reduce the quantity of medication you are taking, or we can adjust the treatment based on your blood pressure. Considering the complication you can have and the probability of African people who principally black to have high blood pressure, or I want everybody, even the neighbor or who has those symptoms, to go to see the medical practitioner. Based on what you hear today, it's always good to answer those questions, to think about those questions and answer them, so we can be sure that you know about what is a high blood pressure. Now it's time to hear what is high, what we are saying in a secondary guide. Thank you.
It's why the glass of Rachel, or personal part. Now, one person, Sanadina, San, Moja, now I know the secretary of an impression why I can hold. Then, yes, secretary of that's not shown me a public opinion, but not shown me in your press, what I will put in your press, and that's not really the one. Yeah, secretary of it's precious here, you're buying it. Yan money, they're not awful. Up on all that. It's a courier, so the now, Marba, oh, yeah, so the pressure you measure, show me what you measure. Now, don't the pressure, oh, yeah, I'm going to a young stem of the head, a teacher, but yeti, and sing the prayer, and then to know body. It's, I don't want you more body, funny sodium. Honestly, what you process is most of it, but not what package I made that I know. On the knock of watery, we more watery tea, I know what they come. But I am sodium, or friends. Watery. I know friends. It's the okay, you will not know so young one. I saw our concern, not today. You will just so or a person, the impression or a person. I can drink second bakery, almost why I in your pressure. Everybody just said, when you die, you go to another year. Okay, then when I do today. Yeah, why he the year, you know, what to leave you what I pay and they, if you know you to see. Miss One say, I get you bakery on yet. I'm going you to go, son. This will go to one in your pressure. On my in your pressure, everybody. On yet, maybe. It's in your situation, but I don't know if they situation, but I'm sorry to be free. And I don't listen to be but pressure to them. I silence killer, and you didn't find a friend your silence killer because Santa check you BPR. To the wet, a more check pressure, weight rich, and Sana. In your science, they may be a BB cafe or Missy and your many I am. Every day, or many should be as an American that a hospital and someone in your pressure. Message everybody, who there is to be great pay. Another story to be great pay. Go to my contact, but I don't want them celebrations and many years in chair because Messi a day or Cheddar Messi chair. It's a silence killer, not to be a pressure silence killer. Senya pressure. And then you sit here, but not shed again. About to how I dream the free. About to I mean your heart attack. What's I mean your stroke? No, we did something. Senya pressure not shed you. What's I mean you sit here, but and you sit here, but not shed you. What's my main your pressure? What's my main your kidney problems? What's my main your liver problems? Because you're making alcohol in the time. Ada ọtụmọchị ya babe otu aka ya na abadị nọ ya ya ọkpụkpụ anọ ya aba so ibu ebusi ma anyị bịa wa aba sị mkpọ pepe aba sị mkpọ ọkpụkpụ na ebi so ọ presa na-etiti ya ebe a so ahịawa dịdị nye ahịawa nụmọtụ nye ya otu ama ibi the ambọ ọwọ ọgọ ọsa okwete mepụta ya obesity ga-ekwenye sị ọgbọ sisi mkpụrụ
This is now translated to obesity.
Okay, thank you. That was entry A, what we hear about. So this education is in English. At the same time, we try to do it in secondary language, principally Ghanaian language. So it can be cultural adaptable our presentation. Thank you.